Hi, everyone. Marianne Markowitz. This week's career session is all about helping you go through some self-reflection. And if you've hung around my channel at all, you know I'm all about journaling, reflecting, kind of stepping back. Because if we stay here in this contracted, in your head position, it just becomes more and more difficult to think about, well, this is what I want to do, and then what's the next step? So today's purpose is to, again, just explore what have your career choices been so far, and let's understand what's motivating you and then what's fulfilling you. And as we dig into this, it'll help you make decisions about, yeah, this is where I need to focus, or this is where I need to focus to make some changes. So grab your journal, let's go. Again, the most important thing is to cultivate and understand yourself. And this is done one of two ways. One, with journaling and reflecting. It might be working with a coach, or maybe in a group coaching sessions. I personally do better in group coaching sessions because I kind of learn from others sharing what they're feeling. And then that makes me feel not so lonely. Sometimes we get in the habit of thinking that we're the only ones feeling this, and that is the power of a group environment, whether it's maybe a leadership training at the office, or again, personal development. So grab your journal. Let's understand, what are your skills? What are your unique interests and your values? And how does that relate to creating a good career for yourself? And also, I just want to invite you to, when we're reflecting on things, it's a really powerful opportunity to see what are the patterns. Are you someone who quits jobs all the time because the people stink? That's a tough one. But again, look at the patterns. That may be the opportunity for you to say, maybe I need to get a little bit more emotionally mature about the way I'm reacting to things. So again, self-reflection number one. Again, we're looking at our repeated themes. So look at your past career dreams. When you were younger, what did you want to be when you grow up? I remember taking one of our animals to the vet, and I just thought that was like the neatest thing in the world. And of course, my mother said, oh, you can't be that. It's like being a doctor, and B, we just can't afford that. So that was kind of pushed aside, but that's okay. I naturally moved into things that were sales oriented, that turned into recruiting because I didn't know you could get paid for matchmaking. So that I've just been very fortunate in that I have, been able to kind of fall into those career paths. But what about you? So here's your question, and you can write more later. But what did you want to be when you grow up? And just, write 2 to 3 sentences. Don't worry about that somebody else is going to be reading it or grading it. These are just little bullet points for you to put down on what did you gravitate to? And, what is attractive about that career? And what's unattractive? So just think about, when I was a child, I wanted to be, what else did I want to be? I remember the veterinarian. I honestly can't remember anything else. I just remember loving animals. So what about you? What would have been attractive to that? Well, I would have still been interacting with people and with animals. What's unattractive? Well, it's just a lot of work. You have to be there on the weekends for people. So you get the idea, what is a career path that you kind of thought about? And now review your career up to this point. So what do you like the most about the career or the job you're in now? I love interacting with people, connecting with new people on LinkedIn, either as recruiting or networking, or I love hearing from past clients who are like, well, this person's been here for 5 years. We need another one. I love connecting people. It's just so intuitive for me to really ask questions and listen and just almost know immediately this is the person for this company. So what is it about your current job that you like doing the most? And what about some of your past jobs? What did you like doing the most? And here's the all important question. If you won the lottery tomorrow and could choose to do anything, what would you do with your time? And just think about, would you volunteer? And that's a good reflection of what would that volunteering be? I know what mine would be. It would still be using pretty much the same skill set. So think about for you, if you're an accountant, would you be volunteering your time when you're not off traveling and getting to know yourself a little bit more? Would you be volunteering your time during tax season to help people who can't afford a good CPA? I mean, there's so many things we can be doing out there, but you think about just again reflecting, if I won that lottery, what would I do? Would you do something totally different? Fine. Then look at what those skill sets would be. And now, what are your hobbies and interests? It's really good to examine what are your hobbies? What do you currently do? Is there something you'd like to take up? And if you do not have any hobbies, then your assignment for me is to pick a hobby. It could be picking up a new book. It could be taking a walk in nature and then learning how to identify birds or plants. Pick something. It is vital for you to have another interest that will activate the right side of our brain. This is our spiritual side. And this is where the magic happens. So what are your hobbies? What would you do with your time and your money and your freedom? And just go with that. Just keep studying. Again, this is all about getting to know me. And then as you get to know me and looking at the patterns, that is your superpower. Then you can start looking at what kind of changes you want to make. All right, next. What are the preferred qualities and the people you want to be around? I think this was in last week's session too, in my 4 Ps. But who have you enjoyed working with? What were the qualities of these people? And if you could change anything about where you are now, what would that be? So again, just which of your qualities do you enjoy using? What are the qualities of the people, either present or past, you've enjoyed working with? And again, let's say you're not 100% happy where you are. This is an exercise to cultivate, again, awareness for myself. And I was much happy over here. And what were the things that made you much happier there? Then you can put this over here in your wish column and look at your hopes and your dreams. And actually, that's where we're going next, number 5. So what are your current hopes and dreams? And what is something that if you have just, have you given up on anything in life? Is there, so just say to yourself, my dream is to ... and fill it in. So make that your number 5 for your questions. for reflection, my hopes and dreams are, and fill in the blank. Again, it is very powerful for the subconscious mind to have you put something in writing, because even if you think you're not doing anything about it, aside from just saying, I want to win $200 million. For me, I looked at the lottery the other day and I was like, God, I really kind of need to figure out how to pick these numbers. So for you, aside from that, and yeah, if you want to win the lottery, we do have to buy the tickets. But aside from that, just, when you write down your dreams and goals, and I've used this example in other videos, so this may be a repeat for some of you guys, but I remember 2019 in the springtime writing down probably about 30 things that I just wanted to put out there. It was in the first live Silva class I took in Arizona. And holy cow, in 2020, actually it was 2021, I stumbled upon it because it wasn't something I reviewed every single day. Probably didn't look at it hardly at all. But when I looked at it, it was kind of spooky because I read it to my husband. He was like, oh, well, that is just too weird. My point is, if you're really serious about your personal growth and you're writing things down, put them in a place where you can review them and you will be shocked and surprised. So think about deep down, what do I want to do? Write it down, because your subconscious you'll start working towards it. And then as our last reflection, think about, what do I want to be doing in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years? And who do I have to become to be that person? And this works whether you're career-wise, love life-wise, new home-wise, retirement-wise. You can take any of this exercise related to career and fill in the blanks for, I really do want to be in a relationship in 5 years. So who do I have to be today to attract that and be that person who's in a solid relationship? So play around with these. This is your reflection. And once you've gone through this without me here, but again, you've written down your questions, hopefully, just contemplate, what was the most valuable part of this? Was it starting at the beginning with, who do I want to be when I grow up? Is it reflecting on where you've been so far in your career and what you've enjoyed and where you've had your successes? Reflect. Where did you get the most value out of it? All right. Next week, we'll have another session related to career. And I look forward to hearing from you. If you like this, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel.